Alright, what's going on? Hey, thought I'd go ahead and do a review on my 2019 Mako L18 LTS. It's an 18-foot bay boat. As you can see, I have it rigged out. You can see I have a quick release trolling motor on it. I got the Mako 80 pound thrust 24 volt system on it. Works great for the size of this boat. Has spot lock on it, so you can kind of stick exactly where you need to be. Kind of giving you an overview of the boat first, and then we'll take a look at it individually. It's paired with a 115 Mercury outboard, 4-stroke. Awesome motor. So there's a couple options that it comes with. One is the 90. This one's the 115. I think it would be fine with the 90. Definitely like the extra oomph of the 115. Definitely picks this thing up and moves it. It also has the 4-blade stainless steel prop. This boat was also equipped with trim tabs. I think in this case it's a must. Kind of go over that here in a little bit. And also a jack plate. Again, if you're going in the bay, you want to get shallow, that's a definite must. This boat has about an 11-inch draft. And my experiences I'll tell you about. So I've been in the bay 4 times, been at the lake about 4 times with it so far. Has a trailer. Single axle, no brakes. It's really not heavy enough really to care about brakes. It's got 2 nice guideposts as well to get you in and out. By the way, we're in Texas right now and it's about 104 degrees, so a little bit warm. So, you can see on the sides of the boat, it's not a very high gun wall, which is nice, especially when you're fishing. I bass fish off of this boat as well, so it's kind of nice. The only downside is if you are in some good chop, you will get wet. At some point, I was out a couple weeks ago, and the waves were about 3 foot in the bay. Very, very windy. And I had to turn back around and get into a protected place because it was just a little bit rough for this boat. But as you can tell, it does have a nice knife-cutting V on it. If you use the trim tabs and put it down into the water, it does cut pretty good through that water. So, definitely bay boat, definitely not offshore at all, unless the seas are incredibly calm. So, start off back here. Back here we have 2 nice hatches. I'll show you the first hatch here. It's a pretty big size. If you notice, I put silicone on these rubber gaskets right here because they will leak if you don't have it done that way. You can also see this pump right here is for the live well. The only problem that I've ever had with this is it gets vapor locked every once in a while. The nice thing about it is it's real easy to get to. Just unscrew that one little screw right there, pop that hose off, and boom, it's unlocked. So you can see it's a really good size in here. Easy access to pretty much everything. The other side is almost identical to it. The only thing it does is it has access to different things, so we'll take a look at that. Also, that is the GPS for the Mako trolling motor, and then that's where you plug in your aft anchor light back there. Alright, so in here, if you have the jack plate, then this is where the reservoir for the jack plate is. So it's really easy to get to. Again, they thought this thing out pretty good as far as where everything's at. Everything runs through this little hole right here. Got main connections for your battery, which is nice back here as well. Again, this is where I normally store all my life jackets. And I'll tell you why it's totally empty here at the end. Alright, cleats. So it's got one on that side, one on that side in the aft, and then it has one all the way in the very front. Now I wish this boat actually had an extra one either halfway or in the middle, because when you're tying this boat off, it gets kind of a little bit squirrely if you don't have an extra tie off. Alright, so the leaning post does rock back and forth. So if you want to sit forward, drive the boat, sit aft, hang out, fish off the boat, and then it works great. I think it's a 72 quart. It's an igloo. And honestly, this thing does awesome, even for being an igloo. It's a nice padded, comfortable seat top as well. It does really good. It'll hold ice in a 110 degree day, or equivalent 110 degree day, and it does a great job. It'll hold it all day easily. Alright, so the Helm. So we have 3 different gauges on here. You have the RPM and fuel, which are standard. And if you have trim tabs, you will get a water pressure gauge. And the reason for that is to make sure that you have enough water as you're trimming the boat up and down. One thing that I did add, so this is my Garmin. This is a 7SV. Mounted it up here. It seemed to be the best location. I can kind of tilt up and tilt down depending on if I'm standing, if I'm sitting, whatnot. So good location for it. The switches that it has. So it has a horn. It has live well fill and recirc. So mine did not have the whole recirc thing. It just has a fill. So I actually added a air pump to it, and I'll show you that here in a second. And I have the ACC, which I had hooked up to a front trolling or fish finder, and then the other ACC, this one right here, I actually have for this fish finder right here. And bilge. The bilge is automatic, but you also have a manual switch just to override it. Main switch there that turns the power on to everything else. Courtesy lights. So the courtesy lights are down here. There's one on either side. Lights the boat up at night. It's pretty nice. And then nav and anchor light right there. And if you notice, each one of these things has a fuse, a pop fuse. So if something happens to it, push it right back in, good to go. Probably want to find out why it popped. So, okay, so this is the Mako trim tabs. Like I was saying before, definitely absolute must. If you're in a little bit higher waves, it's nice to be able to push the bow down, cut through the waves. On the other side over here is your hydraulic jack plate controls, kind of like a blinker. Up, plate goes up, down, the engine goes down. Alright, so up in the front have 2 cup holders, and that's just a vent for the batteries. Inside here is your live well. I think it's 13 gallons. I installed these. This is part of the bubbler system, and those are the rocks that allow the bubbles to come up. It keeps it very, very well aerated. And there's the fill, there's the overfill, and then down there is the drain as well. So a really nice cushion, a great place to sit. One of the best things I ever installed is this over here. Want to measure your fish. This is by Sea Deck. It's a 36-inch with 3M sticky on it. It's awesome. Very easy to clean. You lay your fisher up there. I don't care if there's blood or whatnot else, man. You can just spray it off and you're good to go. So down here is an access hole. Got I think this is the one of the fuel pumps, fuel senders, something like that that's right there. Alright, so biggest compartment on the boat is this one right here in the center. This thing does go all the way down. Again, fuel system right there, easily gotten to. I don't know if you can see how big this thing is in here. And you can see a hole there and a hole there. So what I use this thing for is actually have a body bag fish holder, and it sits in there with all of the ice, and it holds it pretty well. I guess you could just try to put ice in there by itself, but it does drain down through here and then come into the center console. Up here is the receptacle for your trolling motor. And then up there, the black one is for the navigation lights. In here is your anchor locker. This is also your rod tubes that stick up here. There's 2 of them in there. So pretty decent size area up here. The only complaint I have is it doesn't drain anywhere. So if you get water in there, you open it up and just let it go. So that's pretty much all the overview of the entire boat. Very good boat. I've had a great time with it. No complaints really, except that it's not big enough. So that's why I'm getting a different boat. And if you stay tuned to my channel, you'll see what I'm getting. It is another center console boat, just bigger, has T-tops and stuff. So I'll be doing a review on that probably here in a couple weeks. So this was the 2019 Mako 18 LTS. If you got any questions, drop them below.